A lot of people looked at the Model 3 as the condensed down, bare essentials version of the Model S that was able to take all of the best parts and yet still give it a more affordable price point. And a lot of people look at the Model Y in the same way, except it's taking the Model X and taking some of its advantages and bringing it into a more affordable vehicle for the masses. Of course, leaving some things out, but the question I've seen a lot of people still bring up is, does the Model Y really replace the Model X for a lot of people? Is it able to deliver on all of those practical benefits that the Model X offers? Now, the short answer, of course, is no. There's definitely some things the Model X has over the Model Y, but in today's video, I wanted to compare the two because honestly, it probably makes more sense to compare the Model Y to the Model X than it does the Model Y to the Model 3, because in size, especially if you see them parked next to each other, you start to realize these two cars actually are pretty close. Model X is, of course, objectively bigger. It has 88 cubic feet of storage on the inside, whereas the Model Y is around 68 cubic feet. So still high and up there and very practical, but Model X overall is a longer and taller vehicle. But of course, the Model X is also around twice the price of a Model Y, which is up there. So what are you losing by settling for the Model Y? Well, of course, the Falcon doors, let's get that out of the way. They're really cool, but sometimes problematic depending on who you ask. And Model Y doors are incredibly standard, but hey, sometimes that simplicity is what people want out of a practical, family crossover. The price gap may be huge here, but the ranges are not actually that different, because we got 316 miles of EPA estimated range on the Model Y versus a new very impressive range of 351 miles you can get on the Model X. That's with the standard configuration now of Long Range Plus, they call it, but yeah, you're going to be paying a pretty penny for that one. So still very, very efficient EVs that are able to go very far, and Model Y does have a little bit of an advantage of it being newer because it can support full speed version 3 supercharging. Model X still can't. I still think that's messed up, and I hope it changes when the Plaid mode launches. But yeah, interiors definitely have that Model S versus 3 contrast. We're going from two displays to just kind of one landscape in the center that is smaller, but it's kind of being designed for that autonomous future that Tesla thinks we're pretty close to. So you're going to be using that for watching Netflix, YouTube, playing games, not so much just looking at your speed. So saves money on parts, able to bring the cost down to the end consumer. I say overall it's a good move, but it's interesting how the glass roofs on these cars are handled so differently. So on the Model X, I think the best place to be in is the driver's seat, because you have glass going all the way behind your head with that really, really huge windshield, whereas the people in the back seat, they don't get quite a luxurious view because you've got all of these hinges and standard roofing area for a car, because that's what's got to hold on to those Falcon doors on the side, which means that if you're in the back of a Model X, not quite as good a view as the Model Y, which has this amazing panoramic glass roof. It has the first center column that the Model 3 has, but if you're in the back seat of the Model Y, or you like taking your car on camping trips and you want to lay down in the back and things like that, Model Y actually has the advantage here, and I personally think it looks amazing just to have glass go from the front to the back that much, but also the Model X windshield is pretty amazing too. The biggest holdup between Model Y and X, though, is the seating arrangement. So if you buy a standard Model X, yes, it comes with 5 seats just like the Model Y, but with the Model X, you actually do have 2 different seating configurations. You have a 7-seater, which the Model Y is supposed to get next year, but everyone's still wondering, how is that gonna work? Are they gonna be rear-facing seats or front-facing? Because Model Y is obviously much shorter than the Model X, so finding a way to get people to be front-facing, like the Model Y prototype was when they first unveiled it, not sure if that's gonna make it into the production model, and I'm still surprised on Tesla's website they claim the Model Y will seat up to 7 adults. They're not saying 5 adults, 2 children, which at this point I really think they should change that, but Model X also supports a 6-seater if you want to have the same kind of seats that you have in the front row in the back, and that can make, the little center area a bit easier for getting into the third row. And you also have more motorized seating controls for those 2 back seats. So that's why it's actually more expensive to get the 6-seater instead of the 7, because they're less seats, but they're better seats overall. So some people prefer that, but I doubt Model Y will ever get a 6-seater configuration just because it's going to be too complicated, and Tesla knows they're going to have a really, really hard time making a third row work for the Model Y. There are some safety pros / cons with having them being rear facing in the back. For one, some people are concerned that, if you get rear-ended, there's people back there and there's less crumple zone than you would have with a traditional vehicle that has more storage and room behind that third row. But on the plus side, if you are facing backwards when driving a car, there's a severe lack of whiplash potential in the event of a collision on the front, because your head is already against the headrest. So everyone in the car that's facing forward gets thrown back a lot, and that can really damage your neck, whereas if you're facing backwards, not so much. But of course, some people don't like it just because it's gimmicky that you would have to get into the third row by opening the powered lift gate and having to crawl in back there. It's just not the same as walking through a standard door. But it makes a lot of sense if the Model Y is not having Falcon doors, because Tesla's motivation kind of for implementing those Falcon doors and going up is it makes it really, really easy and comfortable to sneak back into that third row when you need to. So now that the Model Y doesn't have that, maybe it's logical to say, you know what, just get through the back. You know what, fine, let's treat that hatchback like it's a door. A lot of other vehicles out there have that. Model S even had it for a while, and Elon's alluded that the Plaid Model S might even get that feature back in time. So it may become more of a Tesla type thing in the future, but previous photos we saw of the Model Y third row showed that the second row of seats could be on a rail system that could slide upward, which means third row will be possible on the Model Y even with front facing. It's just the people in the second row are going to have a lot less legroom, and I think there would be a lot less cargo space in the back than we currently have, because they'll probably lower those third row seats a lot lower than the current builds of Model Ys we've seen. So I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but in my opinion, that 7-seater option is the main reason the Model Y is going to have a hard time replacing the Model X for a lot of people, because typically the reason someone will go with an SUV over a sedan is because they're moving more stuff, or there's more people in the family that they need to move around and drive with. So if the Model Y is unable to comfortably seat 7 adults, which at this point I think is very likely, then there is that small piece of the market that won't be really happy with the way the Model Y is configured in the lineup, because they really enjoy the benefits of a Tesla, they enjoy the cost savings, they enjoy autopilot, the futuristic take on a vehicle, but they gotta fit 7 people in the car, and those kids are growing up and getting taller and getting bigger, and that means that just because we want one car that can hold all these people, the Model Y doesn't cut it for them, and now if they want to keep a Tesla, they have to basically spend an extra $30,000 to $40,000. So that can definitely suck. I really hope they're able to make the third row work on the Model Y in some way that's practical, because there are a decent number of people out there that are like, hey, we need to move people and we need a 7-seater vehicle, but a lot of people in those situations are moving children, which are of course typically smaller, so easier to fit in the back. So when we're talking about not fitting 7 adults, it might be a lot smaller of a demographic than we think if we're not counting just bigger families, because I do think that third row will work for smaller sized people, and I don't think Tesla's going to cancel it outright, but that's just another really big advantage the Model X has that isn't so much about aesthetics. You know, the auto opening and closing doors, that's cool. Falcon doors, they're cool, kind of practical, but people have lived with traditional doors for the longest time. It's not a big deal. The Model Y even has tow hitch options, just like the Model X. It can't tow as much, but now we know for $1,000 extra, you can add that, and way cheaper than opting for the Model X, which does come with a tow hitch standard. But yeah, both vehicles are towing capable. It's just that 7-seater option that I think is going to be the deciding factor for a lot of people of, well, do I need to save a bunch more money and splurge on a Model X, or can my kids stay under a certain height so that I can settle with the Model Y in the third row? But other than that, yeah, the Model Y does a really good job of replacing all of the functions of the Model X. Obviously, a few shortcomings there, but I'd love to hear what you guys think Tesla could do to the Model Y to make it complement the Model X and replace it for more people by hitting me up over on Twitter. Join my Discord and we can chat more about it there. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.